Yeah, it's good, yeah. Mhm. Okay, so welcome everyone who is here. I know Lily, I know Irmgard. Maybe you, Miss Josefa Rodriguez, you're from some other part of the world. And Miss Tello Cabral, maybe you can, and we know Merle, of course, because she's also here from Austria. Maybe you want to say something briefly because one disappeared, Josefa disappeared. Miss Cabral? Can we see you briefly? Maybe it's difficult to understand. Maya is here. Hello, Maya. Maybe I start with a short prayer and we go through the statement because Lily did a lot of work, sisters did a lot of work, and we used the time to go through this. Yeah. So I will start with a prayer. Good evening, dear Heavenly Parents. Good evening to parents. Dear Heavenly Parents, we are so grateful that we can be together and that we have this opportunity to be a voice at the UN. Dear Heavenly Parents, we are also grateful for the effort that sisters made in various countries to put together their understanding, their observations, their recommendations to fight this situation of violence, domestic violence that so often goes against women, not always, but in many cases, and how to transform this, that this does not happen, transform societies in a safe place for everyone, where we can also have a dialogue and communication, non-violent communication inside and outside of the family. And actually, we wish and desire to have this on all levels, that we learn to talk to each other, that problems can be discussed, talked about, and solved in peaceful and non-violent ways. Dear Heavenly Parents, we are grateful for the effort that sisters made to put the statements together from Mexico, from Australia, also Merle gave some thoughts on the topic. And so we see how we can do it and put it together to one piece of paper. Dear Heavenly Parents, we invite you to be with us, to share our thoughts and our inspirations. And we want to pray this in gratitude and in attendance of our dear Holy Mother Han, as I'm praying this in the name of Renate Amesbauer, mother of a Saint-Tropez family, Chu. So thank you very much for being here. And maybe Lily can share her screen because we got this statement very ausgedehnt, a comprehensive statement or collection from Mexico, but we also got the collection from Oceania, from Australia, and some thoughts that also merely added to the topic. So let's have a look at it together. And we said we rather want to put it as recommendations in a general form so that it's not only linked to one specific country. Shall I read it loud? Is this an idea? Or we go through it?
Yeah, she'll read it.
Domestic violence. Talking about domestic violence means addressing a latent reality for millions of women, a social and cultural issue that has affected entire generations and, if not addressed at its roots, could escalate into more serious problems that threaten public order. According to the latest report from the National Institute of Statistics and Geography, this is in Mexico, 74% of women in one country reported having suffered violence at least once in any of its forms: physical, verbal, psychological, economic, workplace, political, sexual, among others. These statistics compels us to reflect on the public policies and strategies that must be implemented as it clearly reveals a lack of respect and visibility for women. Given that the foundation of all societies is the family, it becomes the primary target of any effort toward massive transformation, as this is where everyday sexism practices are born, deeply rooted in society from ancient times. However, it is also the place where patterns can be transformed. I like this very much, yeah. Initiatives such as Orange Day, actually this part has been compiled by our Mexican sisters, have been implemented where actions are carried out on the 25th of each month to combat violence against women, girls, and adolescents in public institutions, schools, government offices, and private entities. The goal is to raise awareness about the importance of creating safe spaces for women. The legislative branch has also worked on laws to penalize or increase punishments for aggressors, such as the Olympia law. Is probably a word that has a meaning in Spanish, but we don't know it, which addresses violence perpetrated mainly by partners or ex-partners through the use of intimate digital content to harm or blackmail victims. The acid law, this is so sad, which defines attacks with corrosive substances intended to permanently disfigure or injure women as attempted femicide. The Monson law, which prevents custody of a child whose mother was a victim of femicide at the hands of the father from being granted to the aggressor's family. The vicarious violence law, which seeks to prevent children from being used to pressure or harm victims. And then is a talk about this Declares law in Australia. This came from our colleagues there. Despite increased penalties and attempts to bridge the justice gap to ensure safer conditions for women, the rate of aggressions continues to rise. This is why every effort counts. As long as domestic violence is not eradicated or reduced at home, these practices will continue to be normalized and eventually rendered invisible, thus nullifying their importance. From the Women's Federation for World Peace in Mexico, we have taken actions to raise awareness and strengthen women's empowerment from an integral perspective. This is not only to provide tools to help women become stronger, but also to reinforce family, social, economic, and environmental ties. Through partnerships with various projects, we have promoted economic training via Uniferpresarios, knowing that many women who experience domestic violence remain with their aggressors due to a lack of sufficient resources to support themselves or their children. Thus, our work goes beyond teaching how to better manage resources. It includes how to generate them, understanding their rights and changing habits to improve physical and emotional health and rebuild safe spaces for themselves and their children. The goal is to break the cycle and empower them to report violence or, at the very least, decisively end abusive relationships. In Latin societies, the role of women goes far beyond giving birth. They are educators, role models, and pillars of families, even when they are at a disadvantage and lack basic respect and recognition as equals in the foundation of society. It is everyone's responsibility. Authorities must not tolerate impunity, and society must stop normalizing these practices in daily life. Reducing domestic violence in all its forms will help us build stronger families that raise children with values, boundaries, and responsibility. Only then can we scale up the changes across all sectors of society. Because a woman who builds a family out of aggression, disrespect, devaluation, fear, abuse, and oppression, especially from those who should be her protector, support, and life companion, or even from her own parents, cannot be truly happy or develop fully unless she works through these deficiencies and chooses to move forward on her own, despite everything and everyone. And it becomes even harder to fulfill what society mistakenly holds her responsible for, creating stable and functional families. I think it's very important points, very important points. I think once we should find out maybe numbers of if there is international numbers about domestic violence. I'm sure I can. I'm sorry, I didn't do this research. We could add these numbers. And yeah, I like this very much because this is really Women Federation in Australia helping these women, helping with these situations. Shall we, there was some other points I wanted to, but I forgot now. Also, shall we, oh, yeah, Iona is here, yeah. Oh, many more are here now. Now we see Josefa, see the picture. Thank you. Yeah. Margarita, hi. Iona, hi, nice that you.
Buenas tardes, buenas noches, buenos días.
Buenos días, ja, genau.
Hola.
All kind
Hello
of,
from my side too. I apologize. It was holiday here and I'm traveling with my family. So
yes.
yeah, sorry I was late.
No, it's okay, Iona. It is also holiday in, I think, almost all over the world, yeah. 1st of May.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Not in Australia.
Also in Australia?
No, I was asking
Oh.
Joseph this morning. It's a socialist holiday. It's Labor Day. It's no.
Okay. Yeah, what does the other think about these two compilations of recommendation put together from our sisters? I think it's nice because it's what I like about it because it's very concrete. Yeah, it's very concrete examples what happened in governments or what happened through our or reinforced through our Women Federation. So I think if someone reads this, then it helps them think, okay, maybe we have to, this is where a point we have to act more or look at more closely. And I think this is what it should be, yeah? A recommendation and a help for practical work in a country.
We have 700 words so far, and what was it, 2,000 we can have?
We can have 2,000, so, but
So
was this only 700? Because
this is 700 now, but without the text from Clare's Law and without anything from what Merle wrote. So,
yeah.
or anything from Suva. So we could still, so with the material that we have there, when we include more describing what Clare's Law is about, because here is
Yeah.
a description of what the other laws are, and to describe what the Clare's Law deals with.
Yes, I think this is important. This is very important because this is a very important point in every society, yeah? To have the right to ask, to find something out about your partner. Yeah?
For me, the
Yeah?
question is if from the side of the Mexican government, which kind of programs exist that maybe they can write down also to know a little bit what the government is doing.
This was actually what is in their recommendation. This is what they sent us, is what comes from the government, the answer of this situation from the government. So these laws, the 3 laws from Mexico come from Mexico, yeah. I also had to read it 2 times. This is to understand this.
Sorry.
I need to.
I was surprised. Yeah, the explanation of Clare's law is very important, yeah. If I would be more eintreten lassen. iPhone, this is Annabelle, yeah. iPhone is Annabelle.
Yes, I think to pad that out, to fill it out, we would need to work on the actual text. I don't know if we can do it in a meeting like this, but I would recommend that each one looks at that and at the document from Australia and at what Merle has prepared, and that we need to have the draft text there and then we can put it together. And because I can't imagine it, well, if you want to do it working on the document like this, yeah, extremely difficult. But if that's what you want to do, I'm prepared to do the input. Yeah.
I think as much as we can, like let's get as far as we can get. What my thought was, because there was this initiative White Ribbon, I could research a little bit about that, and we could add. This was another. The White Ribbon was like an awareness of, especially men saying yes, we are not, as there is a no, and domestic violence against children and women is a no-go. This was a kind of action and initiative. And in Austria, we have these places where men can go. I mean, if there is something happens, there was violence, then they have to go there for treatment, but they can also choose themselves. Diese Männerzentren. I would have to find out how this. I could make a little bit of research about that, so we can add this as a recommendation. What can be done in a society? Yeah? To make this more open and to make people realize it's not, this is for sure not something that can just go on. It has to become open and it has to be dealt with. And when everybody says, oh, actually, this is really, we don't want it, then somehow you always feel it would be so easy to stop. Yeah. Of course, with help from many, but to have some ideas, to put some idea, I think we can put ideas together. What has been done in different places, and this can give the idea for others. Yeah, maybe we can do this as well. This is the purpose of recommendations, I think.
I think an idea is also that to start already in the kindergarten with the non-violence
Education.
communication and education, and also to, like what Iona does, to educate young people, to strengthen couples, how to communicate or behave in a relationship, so that this is some kind of prevention, so that how to deal with violence or negative emotions. Yeah, I don't know. It's just an idea.
Can I say something?
Oh, yeah, Mary.
Yes, sure.
Yes, hello. Yeah, I agree with what you said also, Irmgard. It should start from the very young age for kids to have this good manners and right conduct, especially at school and also at home, no? To educate the kids. You're right. Yeah, I agree with that. Yes. By the way, Renate, did you receive my 200 words statement?
Yes. I read
Okay,
it
good.
too.
I want to add some more there because I forgot to add it, but I will add it later.
Okay. And
Okay.
Eliona, you want to say something? You're kind of the expert, one of the experts among us.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to connect what you said before, that the way how I'm going to organize like my speech is going to be strongly mention this point of early education, and not just for couples, like to start in the right way and to like avoid any kind of violence, but to focus in the right manners. This is the first start even for early education in home for children, because before going in kindergarten they are in environment like in home environment, so they have to start it from there, like the example like that parents give to their children, and after that for sure starting the education in kindergarten and primary schools is necessary. I have to check because I'm not sure, but I think there are some states that already started early education Since in kindergarten, I have to check maybe Slovenia. I heard it like, and I have to check the other countries, and I will share with you information because I want to see if they already have results from this education or just they started as a project. So yeah, these days I will check if they have results from this, and then will be interesting actually if we speak with data that the states that they started to implement these programs and to educate since in kindergarten children already have results, or like they for sure they have something, and will be amazing also like for the point that yeah, statistic on domestic violence internationally. Also these days I can find out the statistics for Balkan area at least, and I will share the statistics.
Okay, thank you very much, Iona. But how quick do you think you can do this? Because you also have your children, you have your work.
When is deadline?
Yeah, the deadline is tomorrow midnight.
Tomorrow
No,
midnight.
but
Okay.
let's say we have two chances. We have this one chance. We can whatever we can work out until tomorrow. I would say 10 o'clock in the evening. This is what we have, but also we can extend it, and we are always free to send this paper a second time to all the embassies, for example, or send it. I mean, this you can do. But in Vienna, I can send it to all the embassies together with the report and video about our event, so people will read it. So whatever we can add afterwards, it's not lost. I think it's very good to have an extensive paper. People will really appreciate this, yeah.
I think
The
I can
value of the statement that we submit is that it gets put onto their webpage as part of it's part of the conference, and it gets submitted
Genau.
by the UNODC to the member states as part of the conference.
Genau, this is right. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
why
yeah.
whatever
Okay.
we present now is very valuable, because as substantial as it can be, the better.
Genau. But if other things come later, then we can still use it. I also remember now, but I don't know if you have any chance to hear something about it. Maya, we talked to a lady, Dr. Not Roberto, but somehow, long time ago, when we started our working groups about education in Vienna, and they had started a pilot project to support young couples when they become pregnant, the wife becomes pregnant, to have these couples to take care of them and have them talk about their childhood. What did they experience as children at home? Because we all know that what you experience at home, you take with you. And if you have not very consciously worked on it or work on it, then somehow you repeat this behavior of your parents with your own children. Even if you don't like it, then you work it out to change it, because they want to help these couples if they have experienced, if they suffered violence at home, that they can treat it. They can be treated and healed before the own child is born. And this was a very amazing project, but it didn't last long because it is so hard to get money for preventive programs. And then so I don't know if I can get a hold of this anymore. Yeah. This was from the Dr. Cermak, Child Health, Kinder- und Jugendgesundheit, Child and Youth Health. This Dr. Cermak, he was a very famous doctor. Maya, you remember probably whom we.
Yes, I know his name, but I think the dynamic in the family is always, you can say sorry if you do something, and to embrace each other. I see it when we live like 3 generations, so sometimes children are running and throwing something to falling down and breaking, and so we say sorry. Yeah, that you must be like what we say, achtsam. I cannot say it in English. Achtsam.
Mindfulness, to learn to be mindful toward
Yeah.
each other. Yeah.
So this is in such a dynamic. I have a very huge family, and And even today we were 24 people because they cleaned house and prepared for our children. So they called their friends, and it was very nice. My grandchild said, it was the most beautiful day in my life. So, but even something was broken and child was crying because falling down. And so always some adult must be present and somebody who say what happened, yeah, to the like aggressor and what happened to the victim. And then we can say sorry, yeah. So embrace each other. The external things is mainly we can embrace and say sorry, yeah. And then we continue to be like mindful, or this achtsam, mindful to each other, and to, yeah. So this is what I can say. Was Chermak was telling, like what we say, not violent communication, yeah, that I listen and then I say, oh, sorry, I don't like this. I don't like when you hurt, when you push me. So children can say, so sorry, yeah. So to learn to accept when children say, when they play to each other and somebody is hurting, not, it was not, I didn't want to hurt you, so sorry, yeah? Forgive me. So this is also very important for practical life, yeah. Not only this is what, not this is, I don't know if it is in statistic, yeah. I in the first reading what Irmgarten said, this treatment or how to deal when somebody came home and is out of this negative feelings. So how to accept and digest and say, oh, you went through so many bad things, so wow, now you need to recover, or you need to take a warm bath or something positive, yeah, to listen to each other. And yeah, so I think this more not only like what I could see, this law, I think in the family many people even act according to their situation, and they learn to live. Because when I get married, I don't get married because I don't like this person, yeah, or I have not children. I am not pregnant because I was misused to be pregnant. So I I think the starting point is always positive from my view, from my experience, but I don't, or statistics, yeah, I don't know. So this is what came to my mind, that we need to see the positive development. Yeah, young people are different. I could see like men are cooking. My son is cooking. My son-in-law is cooking. When my husband was cooking in our family, yeah, when I was working, so my husband was cooking, yeah. So to make agreement, husband, wife, or take care, caretaker, in the family, they do agreement. And if I cannot fulfill, I ask for help. I ask somebody to help me. So this is for me in Austria. I went through this. We have this Heimhilfe, yeah, home helpers and nurses, and you can ask for help, yeah. So from Mexico, what I read is really different culture, different experience, yeah, also in Balkan, yeah. So this agreement, husband, wife, or family, grandparents, husband, wife, and children to come to the table. So I like this coming to the through eating, yeah. When we eat, so we come together and we share, yeah, and we like to understand the situation of the other person, yeah, part of the family. So for me is this communication, or this what we call not violent communication in the family. And if something happened, so it's possible to ask for forgiveness, yeah, and develop again more understanding, yeah. So if this can come inside of this paper, will be good, I think. Thank you.
Thank you, Maya. Yeah. This is how it should be. This is where we all go for. Go for.
Yeah,
Normal communications. Yeah, I think communication skills is very, very important to also
Yeah.
express yourself. Communication and listening skills. Yeah.
Yeah.
We learn how to talk it out, talk out situations. Yeah.
Irmgard.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
For me, it has internal aspect and external aspect. Like, for me, the external aspect is also that governments need to create a framework, a frame for protecting families and educate parents, because parents are mostly left alone. There's no education usually. You just become parents and that's it. So need a lot of assistance actually, and parents need to get to be mature, and also that they feel responsible for their children, because in some cultures or societies, the parents just give the children away to kindergarten, to school, whatever, but they think that their work is number one and nothing else. I think we need to do awareness raising that families are responsible for the children, and but government need to create a framework also to protect families. I don't know what you think about this idea. And the internal aspect is that in a family, of course, there's a lot of healing and reconciliation, and to learn the social behavior and social norms should happen should be in the family, and to learn the love relationships actually. Yeah, it just came in my mind.
Yeah, this all possibilities, or is it Angebote? What is Angebot in English? For helping families, like advice, or also to learn communication skills again. And we have this Elternwerkstatt, these parents work
Exactly.
Yeah.
in Austria as one of these examples that started private. This was a completely private initiative, but is supported by the Ministry of Education.
Like the Elternführerschein.
Yeah, this Eltern working driving license for parents. This was privately started, but is still supported by the government. So they pay for parents to make use of this. What is Angebot offerings of this organization? It's a private organization, but with support of ministry. This is one we have in Austria. Yeah, that is. But there should be, kind of, the government has to protect families. Yeah, it's also would go along what is the school teaching our children. Yeah, like what are they teaching at schools? Yeah? Does this help the children to create families? Does this help the families to be healthy, or what kind of contents are children fed with at school through the books, through the teachers, and so on? Yeah. It goes a long way. Yeah.
Also, this parents association in the school in Austria. I don't know how it is in Mexico or in Australia, but when our children went to the school, we were invited to be part of the parents association, and where we met once a month with the teacher. Yeah, so to have the children when they go to kindergarten, so, and even in the school, we met with the teacher. Yeah. And we discussed about how children need to be supported and what topic is in the school and how we need to ask our children, yeah, about what are you learning in the school, yeah, to say no, for example, yeah. Even my children are coming now, Oma, can you read this book with me? And it was written, if somebody touch you and you don't like it, you must say to the person, please don't touch me this way, yeah. So to learn to express your needs, yeah. So I am not so clear with this clear law, with all this. Sorry, I could not read this statement before the meeting, our meeting now. So I don't know all this law. What there are thousands of laws, even like medical doctor. When something happened, I tried to help people, and they said, "My God, why I could not speak earlier with you about this? I don't need so many lawyers and so many policemen and so on." So sometimes, yes, we have. So I need to study all this law. Yeah. So governments, they can give recommendation. Of course, they say, please be nice to each other. I think. I don't know if government is like saying you need to fight at home. Yeah. Or what laws? I am not so familiar with this law. Sorry.
I think laws are the reaction to situations that happen, and so they have to be there. And one point is, I think, international, that like violence in the home was always said, this is something you have to deal with yourself. And this is the point that in many more and more and more in all countries, it comes that this is not something that this person at home can deal with. They need that help from outside is necessary. It has to be called, and it has to be brought to with all consequences. Like when you go on the street and you hit someone or you hurt someone, then you have the consequence. You have to justify whatever. You come to a Gericht and
Yeah.
to reason. And if the same things happens at home, then it's the same case. You have to take the consequences. Yeah. Then the other thing is how to prevent it. Yeah. Through educate. Yeah. This is what we also
Why
discussed.
is a good how to overcome aggression, yeah, between men and men, or how this energy, yeah, so much energy. Children sometimes also have much energy, so we say now we need to go out to run or to to play. So this is the wisdom or the feeling of the care, take people who take care. If it is in kindergarten, pedagogic, they need to study longer, and even parents, how I deal with this, with my own children and my husband when they are late, I worry, whatever, yeah. So this is right, yeah. We need to, yeah, say the life, the life in the family is very important, yeah. And the law, they give us, we go to the when we start with marriage, we go to somebody who is teaching us, who say some, yeah, yeah, we have always teacher to prepare. I don't know.
Iona, want to say something?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I wanted to connect with this, that, for example, in Balkans, we have contemporary laws, and it's not problem of laws,
Yeah.
like fixing relationship, and the governments are trying hard to do their best, but
Yeah.
I think we have to work in the way how to the communication. Communication is key. Like sometimes when the hard situation are coming, like the way how the couple is communicating between each other is not the right. Is not the right. And I'm pretty sure in this point, Dorina and Andrea are going to bring amazing data, and what about also about the laws, and what about the governments are doing in this point of view. But what we need also to be focused is not just like fighting, because fight is a fight, but then and sometimes in psychology we say that when you say to someone don't use this, then you have to give a right manner, like you have to teach the right way to this person. This is why the education is key, because they are our husbands, our sons, and then it's our families. And then if this happen, it's not just the problems of men. It means like this person before growing up he saw in his family happening this kind of communication in his family. He saw this relationship between his mother and father, and he saw in society or like relatives, and this why somehow when we face the same situation, first we bring our experience, and our experience it come from our childhood, like how our parents like resolve this kind of situation. This is why education is like educating young couple, and then educating in kindergarten, and educating like in the elementary school, everywhere educating like in the right way, the right manners of communication. Like you can express what you want to say, but then we have to listen to the other person, and then we have to be open also to accept the answer from our partner, and to resolve it together. For sure, also there are cultural aspects that are impacting this kind of situation. Many families in Balkan still have this tradition that the young couple also living with the parents of the husband, and then in many points, like I'm totally supporting the 3 generation living in house. I'm totally supporting this, but it's important that everyone know his own place, and then everyone knows like where to be involved in what kind of relationship, because most of the time like the young woman who comes in the husband family like doesn't have rights, even sometimes like it's like mother-in-law who have to decide, or mother-in-law to decide for everything, and the young couple just have to follow. And yeah, many other aspects, so this bring conflict in the young couple, like or even the way how they communicate, or even the like I shared with you before, like is for most of young people in, I'd say even in rural areas, it's totally normal. Like you don't have to ask your wife for sexual relationship because she's your wife. Yes, Sophia, I'm talking. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
And yeah, this why like education, but not just for not just speaking for domestic violence, but speaking education should be all inclusive, like speaking about communication, speaking about love, speaking about all the positive things that the couple should consume with each other. Then this affects the other side. When you make stronger the positive points, then you have results in like lower the negative points. So I see I'm invited often in the workshops, and then I'm amazed how the young couples are like welcoming, like when you offer the right examples in communication. So yeah, like that we have laws and everything, but definitely we have to go through education, I think.
I need
How's it?
to, sorry. I forgot that we have the meeting, and I promised to visit Gertrude. I am taking. So yeah, thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you for your input, Maya. Thank you very much. So greetings to Gertrude.
Yes, thank you so much. Yeah.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, thank you for your sharing, Iona, because it brings us back to the positive and creative part
Yeah.
of our work. And how can we frame this? How can we, I think the laws are still important as it is, not because it means to look at something and not to look away, but to look at situations, but then the change comes from education. Do you think you could write a paragraph, Iona? Or how?
Yes, I can do. And if it's okay, that also the points that I mentioned before, I
Yeah.
can send until tomorrow, like noon, like
Yeah,
12
yeah. This
midday.
will,
Yeah, I will manage the time tomorrow morning and to work in this.
Okay, thank you. This would be great, yeah. This would be very helpful, yeah. Because in the end, we have to put the this is the tool we need, because just to tell what is wrong is to know what is wrong is very important, but then to change, we need education, yeah, to change it for the future.
Yeah, it's good, like when we give solutions, propose a
Yes.
recommended solution, because
Yeah.
mentioning just the numbers and the like domestic violence, and then this, it looks like we are talking like many years is talked about this, and we are staying in one place, but we have solutions, like we have
Yeah.
solutions that already are showing results. And then is better even in psychology now. The last years it changed, like we don't speak about problem, we speak about solutions, because it's like oriented people in the solutions, and it helps because somehow everyone is living with kind of, they know this kind of atmosphere from media, maybe in their homes and everywhere. But then when we orient it also by solutions, like is amazing.
Yeah, thank you very much. This would be very grateful. Yeah, this would be very helpful to have from you, from your side, a paragraph. It can be long paragraph.
So here, I don't know if you want to look at what Australia sent in, Renata.
Yeah,
It's 2 or 3 I don't know how many words. I've got it in a PDF. I haven't got it on a Word document.
it was 1,001 word.
Oh, okay. So the question is what to take out of it if you want to put it, if you want to use the other one as the basis, as this, yeah, that's what you have to decide what to do. If you want to use that, what came from Mexico, neutralize it without the country reference, and then introduce the other aspects. And I don't know, do you want to read this now? Or
Shall I read it out? But do we remember what we? Yeah, I can read it out loud. And I just want to say thank you for Annabelle, because she's here now and she prepared this text for Mexico.
This
So
text
thank
from
you very
Mexico
much.
was hers originally. So I've already taken, I don't know if she saw the changes because I already accepted them and changed them on the other document. We took away the reference to Mexico, and we except the one place. This is the name of the organization here, and another place where it mentions Mexico by name, and that's the question whether we keep that in there or keep it completely neutral. So that's what we'll have to do when we finish get the whole statement together.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi, Annabelle.
Hi.
Hi.
I sent you my documents.
Yes,
and yesterday. They are a review.
Okay, you sent a new document yesterday?
Yes.
Where?
This okay?
I got one. I got one
Or
document.
I change. Anything idea change?
We are using what you sent us. We are using it as a basis, as part of a basis for recommendations. And this is why I say thank you very much, because you put it together very nicely and we are using it. And adding other recommendations coming from other sides, other colleagues, other parts of Women Federation chapter, other chapters of Women Federation.
Okay. I work in this topic.
So this was good. You don't have to do more. It's fine what you did, Annabelle. We are using it.
This is your document. We use your document, and wait on, let me go on to view page width. This is your document. We just took out Mexico here so that we can talk about universal everywhere. Talk about domestic violence, not only Mexico, but everywhere. And so talking about statistics, we want more statistics, not just Mexico. So we will use your document, everything in your document. And we changed only this, took out Mexico here and everything else nearly the same. We add from Australia something here. And in this meeting now, we are talking about what else we want to add. Okay, that hasn't shown up on this edited version. I didn't save it before okay. So the the edited version 2. So we
Yeah,
added here the
yeah.
recommendations, and this is what we still want to do. But it
Mhm.
starts off with your document. This is everything what you did, Annabelle.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay. Do you have example? Send me, please, for I am reading and change my document in anywhere idea.
That's what we're doing now. We're working on it.
Okay. Thank you.
You'll get the final one also. Sure, Annabelle. Sure, everybody. So shall we look at the that from Australia? What we should use? Recommendations to member states on the implementation of Clare's law across Australia. Introduction: domestic and family violence remains a pervasive issue in Australia, contributing to the tragic loss of lives and long-term trauma for countless individuals and families. In 2022 to 23, the number of women killed by an inmate partner increased by nearly 30% compared to the previous year, with 60 women killed by men, 9 by women, and 6 by persons of unidentified gender. In light of this crisis, proactive tools to prevent harm and protect those at risk are urgently needed. Clare's law, originally introduced in the United Kingdom in 2014, is a preventive strategy designed to empower individuals with information about their partner's history of abusive behavior. The law consists of 2 core components: the right to ask, which allows individuals to request information about the partner's history, and the right to know, which permits police to actively disclose relevant and information to individuals at risk. Australia has begun taking steps toward the implementation of this law. South Australia initiated a trial of Clare's law in 2018. I think we don't need these details. We need a description what this Clare law is. The recommendation: establish uniform legislation across states and territories to ensure consistency, equity, and effectiveness in domestic violence prevention. Member states should adopt a nationally consistent framework for Clare's law. This includes enshrining the right to ask and the right to know into state and federal regulations, defining the criteria under which information may be shared, safeguarding privacy and protecting individuals from misuse of the system. A uniform law would prevent a fragmented response and ensure that regardless of where a person lives in Australia, they have equal access to this potentially life-saving tool. Recommendation 2: incorporate counseling and support services. Effective implementation must go beyond the disclosure of information. South Australia's model includes an embedded domestic violence counseling unit in its police services, providing essential support to individuals during and after disclosures. This wrap-around service model should be a core component of Clare's law nationally, ensuring trained professionals are available to provide trauma-informed support. Safety planning is provided in conjunction with disclosures. Victims are not re-traumatized or left vulnerable after receiving difficult information. Support services must be adequately funded, accessible in both metropolitan and regional areas, and culturally responsive to support diverse communities. I think what it would need as a result of our discussions, that also it takes care of the perpetrator, it takes care of the person who is struggling with having an abusive or violent behavior, because at some point or other, this person might want to change it or might be strongly recommended to change. It's not talking about that. For Clare's law to be effective, the public must be aware of its existence, understand how it works, and feel confident accessing it. National and local governments should fund and coordinate awareness campaigns that promote the principle and use of Clare laws. highlighting the warning signs of domestic and family violence. There is a homepage or a link. Reinforce that seeking information is a proactive and protective act, not a betrayal of trust. These campaigns should be delivered in multiple languages and utilize a variety of platforms, including schools, community centers, healthcare settings, and social media. I think at that point, it's very interesting. It says it's not, it's protective and not a misuse of trust. And I think that often people are in many discussions in Vienna related to criminal activities and domestic violence, even with at the Gericht.
Courts.
It came out that people at the court, it came out that people often they say, "Oh, I will never do it again." Yeah, this is I'm so sorry for that. What I did today to you, how I hurt you physically, mentally, and say I don't do it again. But this is like Iona says, you have to learn different practices because in a stress situation, you just use the tool that you have. If it's a good one or a bad one, you use what you have, and you have to. If to change needs training. And this is often overlooked. This has to be somehow emphasized that someone who had a history of violent behavior that really has to understand, I need to do something to change this. And this cannot be done at home. It needs another frame. I think this really needs another framework because at home it's the same situation, the same stress, and you fall into the same pattern again. Yeah? Recommendation, this is what the law in Austria did, that the people have to be away from home, and before they have not undergone a training, they should not return to the home when they have been violent. Recommendation 4, implement strong oversight and accountability measures. Disclosure of sensitive information requires a framework of transparency, oversight, and accountability. The following practices are recommended. Establish an independent review body to oversee the use and outcomes of CLARE law. Conduct regular audits to ensure proper use and prevent discriminatory or unjustified disclosure. Provide comprehensive training for law enforcement and social workers and frontline staff. Regular reporting and evaluation will help build trust in the system and ensure it is functioning as intended. Recommendation 5, learn from national and international models. CLARE laws has been successfully implemented in jurisdictions such as South Australia, New Zealand, and Canada. Each of these models offers valuable lessons. In South Australia, more than 1,000 applications were made within the first year of implementation, showing strong community uptake and demand. In New Zealand, the Family Violence Information Disclosure Schemes allows individuals to request information about the partner's history of family violence. In Canada, provinces like Saskatchewan introduced CLARE's law in response to community demand, and ongoing data collection helps shape its refinement. Australia should undertake a thorough review of these models and build on the evidence to create an optimized national approach. Recommendation 6 include CLARE's laws in broader prevention and response strategies. CLARE's law should be the one part of comprehensive domestic violence prevention strategy that includes early intervention programs for at-risk families, expansion of refuge and transitional housing, increased funding for legal aid and victim support services, improve police training on coercive control and gendered violence. Coordination between police, social services, legal agencies, and the non-profit sector will be essential for holistic implementation. Recommendation 7, monitor and evaluate outcomes. The success of CLARE laws depends on continual review and refinement. Governments should fund longitudinal studies to assess the effectiveness of disclosures, monitor the impact on repeat offending and victim outcomes, collect data disaggregated by age, gender, cultural backgrounds, and region. So, yeah. Evaluation findings should be used to adapt procedures, expand best practices, and address any gaps. Conclusion: domestic and family violence is a national crisis that requires preventative, coordinated, and community-based responses. Clare's law is a proven tool that empowers individuals with information, allowing them to make informed decisions and take protective action. Its success in South Australia, New Zealand, and Canada shows that when implemented with care, transparency, and support service, it can save lives. The time has come for Australia to adopt Clare's law nationally with a clear framework that prioritizes safety, privacy, cultural inclusion, and trauma-informed care. By doing so, we shift from crisis response to prevention, from silence to empowerment, and from tragedy to hope. Let this be a legacy that saves life and restores safety to homes and communities across the country. This is very much. I think definitely we don't need to put all the details in the recommendations maybe, but they're not the details. I think if people are really interested to more in this law, they can find out. They can research about it. And the point that is really missing in all of this, because it's like saving the person who might become victim in a relationship, but again, it's missing the point where to turn it around, that we don't need this law in the future. This means, again, the point of education.
May I add something?
Yes, sure, Jona, please.
Was interested, like it was mentioned in this document that also in prevention, like for perpetrators, like the persons who like use violence against women or vice versa, will be amazing. And I know that some countries it started already, but will be amazing if in the countries that the numbers of the violence is higher, for example, in court, they don't need just to do punishment to the perpetrators, but they also have to force them to go in the re-education process. Like in this point, they have to learn new manners, how to communicate and how to approach to a conflict, or like to, because it's necessary. Because if a person do once, like he used violence against his wife, for example, I know by the many cases that I'm treating in clinic, is like he will do again and again and again. So it's necessary, not just like, for example, sent in the prison for 2 years, or just it's necessary to re-educate this person, like in the way of how to communicate or to approach to the situations, or like to learn new manners and new tools, as you mentioned before.
The sad point is that actually somehow you would always hope that the person says out of free will, I want to change, because it's to having to force someone, but in the end, you have to force this person to go through this, or not let him go anywhere, yeah.
In some countries, the judge, like, say you have to follow, for example, 20 sessions with psychologists, but don't need to be just with psychologists, but needs to be, for example, to be part of a program, re-education program for like couple therapy, or like to be in this. And then better to send in this kind of programs. So will be amazing recommendation. I think that if you recommend like to create this kind of programs, better to send these persons in this kind of program than to send, for example, 3 months in prison, because in prison the possibility to make worse situation is much higher. And then still, when this person come out from prison, is not so much a reflection, because most of the people who are there inside, they are in same category, but also he didn't learn new way of communication. It's like somehow we are going in the point zero, even like, or even worse.
Yeah. So one of our recommendations would be strongly recommend that the perpetrator also goes through a program.
For example, re-education program or like.
I don't know. My feeling is that maybe these two recommendations, like Mexico and Australia, maybe it's too much at once. Maybe better focus on one, like this on Mexico, and complement like with Iona's recommendations. I don't know what you think. Or Lily, you think we can combine?
My suggestion was to include it in this list. I wanted you to be aware of what's in Claire's law. That's why we went through it. But I don't think we can cover all the points. I mean, the 7-8 recommendations from Claire's law is, as you say, too much.
Yeah.
But when we neutralize this recommendation and say it's not just Mexico, but it's Women's Federation recommendation, if we're doing that, if we take out the Mexico references, then I would recommend adding here Claire's law, because that's one of these points that comes up.
Yeah,
and I would recommend that that here at the end or within the document itself, that we flesh out clearly our recommendations to focus on a rehabilitation of the perpetrator, re-education, or social community service. You know, I heard one person talk about they sent their perpetrators to Africa and they had to deal with situations there for 3 weeks. And it completely changed their life because they saw what other people are going through and the stupid things that make them commit crimes in the Western world, where they have electricity and water and digital technology and all of these tools, and they're committing crimes because they're bored or whatever, where they could be doing something substantial to help the rest of the world. And so the education or some other social projects or community service projects, and I think we should really flesh out our recommendations clearly to really balance the document out completely. But the Claire's law, no, I don't think we can put everything in there that was in their document, but I recommend adding it as one of the points of what legislation does exist in some countries.
Yeah,
with an explanation what it is, because
exactly.
they might know it.
Okay. Thank you.
So that's still a lot of work to do. We've got the Mexico, we've got the Claire's law, and then Iona will add her bit. But I can finish this document as it is like that and share it in the group, and then you can all work with it. And I'm happy to check the English at the end.
So shall we, I think this is a good suggestion that we all have it, and who feels who can contribute something at some point, do it and send it back. What do you say, Lily? Because we will not be able to sit together in another time.
Yeah. So if there's any other ideas anybody's got for this draft now as it is, let me know. I can put it in now, and then I can send it out the way that we've decided now. For example, the recommendations are it's not really smooth and clean right now. That's the work that needs to be done. And the headings, for example, what I liked about the Australian the document, it has a clear structure. It talks about the problem and it makes recommendations, numbers them and labels them. And I would like to see something a little bit more like that as well, where we make a clear recommendation, what could be adopted by the member states. We're not talking only about Mexico. We're not talking only about Australia. We're not talking only about Austria, we are making a recommendation to the member states because we are the Women's Federation and we believe we can build the kingdom of heaven on earth when we help solve people's problems and when we heal the relationships between men and women. And so I think we need to have that type of an approach and a structure and have recommendations in there that address our specialty, our focus, which is the relationships, dealing and healing. And I really like what Iona said about focus on the positive, on the solutions. Don't necessarily start with all the negative. So just for example, with our meet and greet, I noticed the big difference about the one man after the embassy who spoke at our meet and greet. I felt like his approach was from the other side. He started telling us all about all of the problems that we have. And I thought, no, that's not us. That's the men. I thought, no, we're not selfish and materialistic and greedy and destroying the environment. That's the men who do that. This is the Women's Federation. We focus on loving one another and taking care of each other and solving all the problems. But I just felt that as the spirit, and I feel we can do that with our work at the UN too, in our statements, that we can give them what we have. We have this very special heart, the logic of love, and to really find how to put that into the document and maybe structure it, like I said, into numbered recommendations to clarify it into, it still needs a bit of work. So if you've got ideas now, let me know. Otherwise, I'll just send it off like that and you can work with it and let me know by tomorrow.
I think we can.
Yeah, it's already an hour. I think that's enough.
Yeah, genau. We can close and you send it to us. And Iona promised to write a chapter on on healing and building positive relationships. And whoever feels to add.
I will send tomorrow by 12.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah.
And I apologize to South America. I'm sure we spoke much too fast. I will post the recording as well. I don't know if that helps you. Maybe there will also be the AI report that is helpful. It's often writing a lot of other stuff, but anyhow, I can share that as well.
Okay. Thank you for everyone for joining, for the work that is done so far. And let's see how much we can do until tomorrow. And then, Lily, we have to meet again tomorrow.
Oh, we're meeting I thought tomorrow have we got a meeting scheduled for tomorrow, or is there something else on? I think I don't know.
Yeah, there was in the evening with the 3 countries meeting, but we have to finalize this document.
Okay. Yeah, haven't got that in my calendar, so I don't have to come.
So maybe until tomorrow, I like lunchtime, noontime. What is this for you sisters in South America? If you want to add something, you have to do it today, because for you it's lunchtime, for us it's evening. So in the next 12 hours, 12 to 14 hours, please send back your recommendations.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, nice to see you all.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Annabelle,
Bye-bye.
thank
Good
you.
night.
Bye.
Bye.
Buenas noches.
Tag.